Good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome to podcast episode number 9, our winter update podcast. So, for those of you who don't know, we haven't had this podcast in a while, and we're sorry about that. We wish we could have it a lot more often as we originally planned. Hey, MT, welcome to the chat. Good to see you. So we apologize about that. Some things take a bit of time to get back into the rhythm of things. We've been quite busy with a lot of stuff. For those of you who followed this past few months, we've been traveling a lot. Jeremy was recently in the Czech Republic. We were part of Level Up KL Play, Southeast Asia, or should I say Asia's one of the biggest gaming conventions that was held about a month ago. On top of that, we also won the Best Strategy Game from Tencent's Game Without Borders Awards, which is one big journey that we've all been through together ever since we got this game up on Steam. In fact, it's a very nice turnaround since we had the unfortunate incident of having to DMCA our game. And all of us at MLBox Studios, we give a very heartfelt thank you to all of you, the fans, and people who supported us by purchasing the game, playing the game, and being a part of our community through and through. We really appreciate everything you do for us, and we hope that as we enter 2020 and we come to our 1.0 release, you're still with us and you're gonna enjoy what we have to show. Hey, Mightytos, hello and congrats on our awards. You all deserve it. Thank you so much. We're gonna keep at it, man. We're gonna keep pushing. We're gonna keep striving. Alright, so let us get into today's meat of the topic, which is our winter update. We've actually focused a lot on some quality life improvements this time around. We've added some new features as well, and for both RTS, and we've done quite a bit of updates with the UI and the user experience. There will be some gameplay changes as well. Unfortunately, I can't really show every single detail here because I will be going into the game to show you what I can. But there are some things that you will find as you play. I can't guarantee it will appear when I play the game here. Alright, so first things first, let's switch over to the gameplay. Okay, so right off the bat, you can see from the main menu, we've already swapped out our 1-year community anniversary main menu to a more dynamic main menu. So over here you can see there is the Exeron trio. This will actually change to either Exeron or GSF depending on the last faction that you played. So it shows you sort of like a nice reminder that hey, your last game was with these guys. You want to play with them again? Yeah, so that's one of the first things you can look at. There's also the community tab, which has been constantly updated and improved. So if you don't have the time to go to the Steam community tab, you pretty much get all the news you need here. Just so you know, our game is now 50% off on Steam, not the autumn sale, but the winter sale. And registration for our Winter Tournament 2020 is already open, so you can go ahead and register. A minimum of 3 members is required to book a slot. You can bump up that team from 3 to 5 as long as you complete all the registrations before the closing dates. To find out more, go ahead into the game and click this link or follow us at our Facebook page. You can find the link there in one of our more recent posts. Alright, so winter update. Let's get into it. Nope. Online. Join game. Excuse me. Okay, so first things first. We've added alphabets for the victory points. So as you can see on the map now, there is victory point A, B, and C. And it's also highlighted on the top where you can see your victory point bar. This is for easier indication of where or which victory point is being captured, so you can communicate it better with your teammates. This makes it a lot easier to pinpoint exactly where they are, and it's not so hard to find where you need to go. Another thing is you'll notice that on the health bar and menu, sorry, on the health bar and shield bars, you notice the shield bars are now segmented into squares. This is to make it easier for you to identify just how much of your shield is left remaining and how fast it recharges. Previously, it was just one big long bar, so it wasn't so easy to tell whether it was recharging fast enough or to read the situation. Now with this breakdown, it makes it a bit easier for you. Okay, as we press tab and we go into our scorecard, so you can see there is a new icon on the left here. This is the kick player option. It's one of the new features that we've implemented. The new player kick option is only available in team games, so you won't find this in solo or you won't find this in skirmish, but you will find this in online games. You can go to the scoreboard with the tab button. You can only initiate a vote kick with a minimum of 3 players on the team, and 100% approval is required for the kick to be successful. What that means is you will need at least 3 players on the team to vote kick, and it needs 100% approval. This is to be further clarified because the feature is still being worked on. But essentially, if you are encountering an issue with a player who is not cooperating well, or perhaps the player might have some technical difficulties and can't seem to quit the game or quit the match, you can try this option to remove them from the game, and should provide you a better opportunity to find more suitable players, or perhaps if you just want to have a private match yourself. Okay, now the next feature is the death count. To do this, I have to literally go find an enemy and get killed. So this will take a short while, but to give you an idea of what the death count is, basically it will focus on the unit or the player that kills you or gets the last shot on you. And it will display some basic information, which is the health, the remaining health, and the remaining shield portion that unit or player has, as well as the name. In addition to that, there's also another feature, which is the improved kill notification. Previously, when you zoom in to an enemy, you can see a very short description that is like a small box just under the reticle. That has been shortened to still give you the same info, but it won't be persistent. And on top of that, you will get a special notification when you killed somebody or some unit. Okay, there should be a guy coming up. There. Right. So as you can see on the right hand side, okay, game ended. Never mind, we'll get right back into that. But basically, if you could catch that for just a quick moment, that small box on the right shows you the unit that killed you last. Excuse me. The unit that killed you last and some of its very basic information. Now this feature is also still being worked on. There will be more improvements to come for these features in later updates. Okay, so as I load into this game, I'll take the commander role. By the way, for those of you watching the stream, hello, and thank you for joining us this morning / evening from wherever you are. If you have heard of our winter update, you can actually read the full patch notes available now on our Steam community tab. If you have played the game recently and you've already tried out these features yourself, go ahead and leave a comment in our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel here, and let us know what is your favorite feature so far, or what would you like to see further. You can always join our Discord channel as well for more updates. Okay, so I'm gonna first show you some kill notifications. Okay, there's a guy there. Don't get me. There we go, right there. So you can see Delta, that's the name of the player that killed you, the HP, the shield, and also what weapon killed you. Alright. So while we're waiting for respawn, I'll then switch over to Commander mode and I'll show you some of the RTS selection improvements. Okay, so we've respawned. Now, first things first about RTS selection. There is now additional shortcuts for better commander selections. In addition to that, we have also improved the selection format where if you if you hold shift and drag or select units, you can add them to your current selection. So let's say I have this group selected and I want to select these groups together. I can hold shift and drag in, and suddenly they're now part of the group. In addition to that, it's not just dragging, you can also hold shift and click to quickly add them into your group together. So that makes things a lot easier for the RTS commander. You can also remove units with the same format. Instead of shift, use control. So let's say I have all of these, but I don't want to bring my medic along. I can hold control and just select the medic. Likewise, you can also do this by dragging. So let's say I have all of these, but I just want half of the group. Hold control, box out. There you go. Now, a feature that a lot of people have been asking for in relation to the engineers, especially because they can't find any free engineer, or they just want a group of engineers to go together to repair a structure or a vehicle. You can now double-click on them, and it'll select all the same unit within the screen. So you no longer have to go playing Where's Waldo with the engineers. It's much easier. Alright. Let's see. Alright, cool. Okay, so that's pretty much it for RTS selection. It's a small bit of improvement, but it should help a lot for those who play commanders a lot. Now we move on to user interface and experience. As mentioned, the control points have now been added labels in the minimap, as well as the top victory point bar. You can see there's an A, B, and C from bottom top left to middle to right. So every map has been updated with this. Okay, kill analysis has been replaced with kill notification. This one is when you kill an enemy. So if I'm lucky enough to find an enemy and kill him, what you'll see is just below the middle of the screen where your gun sight, aim down sight would be, there'll be a short notification stating terminated scout or terminated player name. Okay, I think there's someone there. There, right there. Terminated Extron Scout, terminated Extron Demolisher. So this will give players a much more on-the-nose notification that you've killed a certain unit or you killed a certain player. So it's easier to identify that you got the kill rather than someone else, or looking at the notification on the left that was previously how it used to be. Alright. So yes, enemy info indicator will also show enemy shields. We saw that earlier with the box on the right hand side. Hit ping will only display when damage is inflicted to an enemy. Oh yes, and units standing in front of the Axiron command center will be moved away when an Axiron structure transport has finished training. So what this means is that previously if you played Axiron and when you had units trained, and because they come straight out of the door, they tend to stand right at the door, and if you had a building queued up right after and you forgot about it, usually that building in its vehicular form will get stuck because there are units in the way, so it can't really path out. We have already fixed that, so units will now automatically move away when an Axiron structure transport has finished training and is exiting the command center. So no more traffic jams for Axiron for the moment. Of course, if you still do encounter this issue, please do let us know on our Discord channel and we can further investigate. After all, our game is still early access. We're still working on a lot of features and improvements. This will be just one of the few things that we hope players will appreciate. Okay, the Axiron Mule has also been improved access for interaction, so it's not so hard to access the Mule now for Axiron players. You can actually quite easily just walk up to it, and if you stay right at the middle, you can press F or E or whichever hotkey you've assigned it to for easy access to the armory. It's not so finicky as before. And as for the GSF exploit Vanguard's hack system message, the text has been updated to match the actual effects. Just a bit more accuracy there. Okay. Community tab, yes, has already been updated to match Steam Community Update. Now, gameplay changes. Okay. In terms of gameplay changes, vehicles will now target enemies that are closer to itself unless overridden by a priority attack. So what that means is, usually vehicles, they would usually constantly attack like enemies at a distance. Basically, its most effective range. But we've seen that when enemies get too close, most of these vehicles cannot really defend themselves. So the tweak has been done to allow vehicles to attack units that are closer to it first, unless it has been directly commanded by the commander to target a specific unit, in which case it will do so. Unified blinding effects for GSF flashbang grenades and Echelon Crew Thunder Shell ability. This is where the blinding effect is a bit more similar now for both the GSF flashbang grenade and the Thunder Shell, which the Echelon Crew has. So you should not have an issue where one is a bit different than the other. It's a bit more standardized, so you know what to expect for commanders who use the Echelon Crew or for FPS players. Now, Axiron mules will only sprint when completing a task or retreating back to base. This was implemented because mules had very fast travel speeds, to the point that it became a bit broken. Where some players, I'm sure, MP, you're familiar with your grand strategy of the mule migration, can quickly take over entire maps and resources. And because mules are so economical, losing a few mules is very little to the team that uses it. Yes, yeah, mule rush. So now mules will only sprint when completing a task or retreating back to base. This should control the speed of mules to a bit more acceptable levels, where both teams can have a more fun and challenging time rather than an outright mule stampede. Which, now that I think about it, sounds like a really cool ability. Okay, external structure transports will now have faster deployment because of an increased turn rate. Okay, now this is something that a lot of people have talked about as well. External structures, as you know, when you construct them out of the base, they are in a vehicular form. And like all vehicles, they require to turn at certain angles to reach the positions you wish them to deploy. The turning angles have always been rather slow and clunky. It has since been improved and allows for a much more efficient flow and movement, so you won't have as much problems deploying them where they need to be. Axiron Crawler Turret is included in its hitbox. That's right, so if you're aiming at the crawler turret, you can now hit the turret itself and do damage rather than focus entirely just on the body, which is how it used to be. Alright. Axiron Orion Phantoms will now sync with the following player actions. Okay, this one I would love to show you. So to do that, I'm gonna exit out and cancel. Gonna jump into Axiron this time, and I'm gonna get myself the Orion so I can show you what the Phantom can do. Okay, doesn't work. All right. Well, basically to give you a description. Previously, the Orion Phantom, it would copy the player's last action, whether it was jumping, running, or shooting in a specific direction. As long as you were doing that action and executed the Phantom ability, it would do that action, which would confuse your enemies. Now, the Orion Phantom will literally sync with your actual actions. So you can activate the ability and have it, let's say, run in front of you. And if you jump, it will jump as well, which adds further, how do I say this, confusion, immersion to the enemy that is facing you. It's not just jumping. It includes jumping, crouching, sprinting, as well as weapon control. So it is almost an exact copy of you in phantom form, which cannot be damaged, but also cannot damage the enemies. Okay, improved GSF exploit Vanguard hacking line of sight. So the exploit Vanguard has had some issues with its hacking line of sight. Previously, it could hack through walls. I believe a previous patch had fixed that, but then it was a lot harder to pinpoint exactly what could be targeted to hack, and that has been improved now. So it should have a smoother experience for Vanguard players, exploit Vanguard players. The X1 Fabricator also has a new unit train animation, which should play when a unit has been trained. So you can see that for yourself when you play as Axeron. I'm just waiting for this match to end so I can swap over. Alright, now we go over to visual effects and special effects updates. There have been a bunch of updated particle effects for the GSF Targeted Strike and Tactical Strike. Much more boom boom. The GSF smoke grenades now have been improved to have a wider spread, I believe, but in terms of visual effect only, how effective it is, that's up to the players. The GSF M33 battle tanks cannon and incendiary shots reserve munition have also been improved. The GSF vehicle reactive armor, GSF Echelon cruise mortar shots, the SAT-M rocket launcher, ATR rifle, and the Axiron shockwave gun. Now the shockwave gun is also the shotgun. It's the one that shoots ripples of energy through walls. That has been improved as well. Now we come to the very big long list of fixes. I won't read every single fix, but I will read some really standout ones. So we fixed the crash when the GSF Phalanx and Echelon crew die before deploying. That was a very odd bug, that one. Like literally, it would die before it deploys and therefore crash the game. We have been able to fix the player being able to interact with Urban Hustle and drop-off point when not holding the case. This is for our PvE map, which is in Urban Hustle, where players have to go to certain locations, defend the point, and bring back a case to base. Okay, we've also fixed the interaction message and interaction progress bar staying on screen if the player dies while interacting. What this means is if you're, let's say, capturing a point and you die, that animation of the interaction is still playing. So we fixed that bug. It will no longer appear if you die. So if you're dead, it doesn't appear. We've also fixed Axeron players getting stuck inside the Axeron battlesuit pod when the battlesuit drop zone is not cleared. So what that means is if you so happen to be standing exactly where the battle pod will deploy, or if you're within a certain angle of the battle pod, you will actually get stuck inside it. This is for both, this is for Axeron. So you won't be stuck inside the metal cage anymore. You will actually be able to deploy your suit properly. Okay, alright. Yes, and this one is very important. we fixed the no-build zones that Axiron structures were able to create permanently anywhere on the map when deploying. So what this means is that, let's say you built a Axiron structure and it's in a vehicle format, you can actually choose to deploy it, and the green silhouette, once you place it somewhere on a buildable location, but you cancel it, because the game reads it as though it's supposed to deploy there, you can't ever build anything there again. This also goes for the enemy player. So yes, this is a very big fix, which is very good to have. We've also fixed the Axiron Iron Guards not being able to move towards a rally point after being trained. So your Iron Guards will no longer be stuck on screensaver mode the moment they exit the Fabricator. They will move to your designated rally point. We've also fixed the fact that Axiron Crawlers deal damage to players who are crouching underneath it. I believe this is for both factions, whether Axiron or GSF. I understand if Axiron Crawler is squashing a GSF soldier, but it doesn't make sense if it squashes a Axiron soldier, I suppose. But yeah, you won't have that problem anymore. The Axiron Crawler and GSF IFV will no longer have issues with the turret rotating on slanted surfaces, so they should make for more accurate shots. Oh yes, and the GSF Echelon Crew mortar range preview is now visible at all times after deploying. So you won't be confused anymore if your Echelon Crew is within range. It will always be there now, so you can clearly see what is the effective range and whether you can do damage. We've also fixed the GSF reactive armor. Previously, reactive armor, once it was destroyed, it would actually still act as though it is there and mitigate damage from enemy attacks. So we fixed that now, and if the reactive armor has already been used, it will no longer continue blocking enemy projectiles. And the GSF M33 Battle Tank's reactive armor has also been improved, where it would actually protect certain spots that it covers now. So it's no longer just a visual thing, it is proper effective now. Okay, I should have enough points. There we go. Deploying the suit. Oh yes. For the Scarab Swarm, which is the Vanguard, the Exploit Vanguard, the mines that are throwable now no longer explode upon impact at control point terminals. They will stay and act appropriately. Now the rest are just smaller improvements. They're a bit more, such as fixing the tutorial stage where players couldn't access the locked weapons or not being able to pick up ammo. But yeah, those are the major ones. Okay, so to show you what I mean, number 5. Okay, so I'm gonna walk forward and activate Phantom, and I'm gonna fire. It will fire at the same time as me. I will jump, it will jump. I will crouch, it will crouch. So there you go. Your Phantom Boy can now do as you do. Well, except reload, but he will fire and he will jump and crouch. So yes, that's pretty much the majority of our winter update. We hope you like what you see, and of course we are always working on more improvements for the game as time goes by. So we love and appreciate all your feedback as well as suggestions. You can go ahead and drop us a line at our Discord channel, Emerald Studios. You can find the link below or on our Facebook page. And a big shout out to everyone who is interested. We will be having our Winter Tournament 2020, which is actually our annual tournament. We had one a year ago, which was quite successful. We got full 8 teams, and we had a very exciting bout of matches being played practically for those 3 days. We are looking to do just that again, but this time we're making it a bit more accessible, where a minimum of 3 people can comprise of a team and play. Of course, it's highly recommended you get a team of 5, but if you are willing, 3 people can play along with the AI officers in the game against other teams. It may be a bit more challenging, but if you feel you and your team are up to it, you're welcome to go ahead and participate. And you can boost your team from 3 to 5 as long as you complete the registration before the closing date. So go ahead and book your spot, as only 8 teams will be allowed to play in this tournament. As to why you might want to play, besides for the fun and joy of the frontline battles, we will have cash prizes available for this tournament. Unlike the last one, which featured some cryptocurrency, this time around it's proper cash. We have in Ringgit Malaysia 2,500 Ringgit up for grabs in the total cash pool prize. This equates to about $600. So let me double check here. Tournament, 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 tournament. You on? Yes, okay. So, the Winter Tournament 2020 will feature cash prizes up to 600 USD, where first prize is 300 USD, second prize is 200 USD, and third prize is 100 USD. So this is open to everyone from Australia, Malaysia, America, UK, Russia. Everyone around the world can participate. All you have to do is just go to the tournament page, that's spelled TOORNAMENT, and go ahead and click on the big green register button. So just fill in your Steam ID, your name, and some details. Don't worry, all information is used only for the tournament and will be handled by us, the MLBox team, solely for collection of data for your prize giving and stuff like that. All right. So this is going to be a really nice, fun event. We will be streaming some of the matches live on our Twitch channel as well as Facebook and YouTube, and even here on Steam. So even if you can't join or if you can't get a team to join, you can still join us by watching the games and rooting for your favorite teams. The tournament will be held in a single elimination format. So winners are decided by best of 3 games. The playoff stage will have 8 teams. 4 will move on to the semifinals, with final 2 contending for the grand prize. And third place, there will be a third place match as well, decided by the last 2. Okay, so gather up your squad mates and your teammates, register early. I will leave the link in the description below for those of you interested. And thank you again for joining our episode 9 podcast, the Winter Update. We will strive to have more regular updates as well as regular podcasts in the year 2020 when things are a bit more streamlined and arranged. The MLBox team, once again, thanks everyone for your continuous support for the game and for our work. We really appreciate each and every one of you, and we love chatting with you during our US PvP matches, EU PvP matches, special occasions, and just, having fun on Discord. We hope to continue improving further and having more fun with everyone. So for those of us here in Asia, have a happy Christmas Eve and Merry Christmas. As well, for those of you in other regions of the world, we also wish you a very happy Merry Christmas. And in case you don't hear from us, a very happy New Year as well. So this is Calvin from MLBox Studios. Thanks again for joining us. See you next time.